Hey up guys, what's going on and welcome back to the Atletico Madrid beta save, where once again we played 4 matches in the interim and we're about to face off against Galatarasay once more, followed by Real Madrid. But the 4 games in the interim, a couple of these actually reasonably important matches actually. But 4 games, 4 wins, none less than a margin of 2 goals, which is actually kind of good going. You were so close to getting a really angry Charlie starting this one actually, considering the way that some of these were starting to look like they were going to head. But sorted itself out by the end. Anyway, 2-0 Villarreal. 2-0 up in the first half. Everything's nice and fine in that one. Celta Vigo was... This was the start of the anger coming through, if I'm completely honest. Because we scored with the first shot on target, which was the penalty. Because, you know, still a thing. And then it took 15 more shots on target to get a second goal. 15. I was genuinely fed up of seeing this happen time and time again. It is so frustrating. It seems to be a massive problem in this year's game that it doesn't really matter how many shots on target you have. There's no consistency. Sometimes you'll score 4 goals in a game, 5 goals in a game, and you know the number of shots on target matches the number of goals. Sort of that. And even at 2-0, I was slightly... It's like, this is not representative of the game that's been played, and it happens so often. There are so many games where we've completely dominated and barely scored. And it just doesn't make any sense. The goalkeeper had 14 saves before we scored a second goal. And it's like, what is going on? You know, sometimes there's games like this, they happen every now and then, but not to the level that it's happening in this year's Football Manager. There is something broken in the game engine. That I'm certain of, because it's not necessarily the shots being put away. It might be the shots. For all we know, we might be shooting 14 shots directly at the goalkeeper. But realistically, if the players of the quality that Atletico Madrid are making 14 shots directly at the goalkeeper, then there's something wrong in the game engine in that regard. It's not the goalkeeper's problem in that sense. It's the attacking sense that's the problem, and it's definitely something wrong in the game engine, one way or the other. Anyway. Oh, and then they scored with their second shot on target. So I was nearly fuming until Felipe made it 3-1. So that eased it slightly and made it slightly more representative of the game and play. But they had 2 shots on target and they scored the second. We had 16 before it went 2-0. I think we ended up with 18 in the end. So 1 in 6 shots on target went in the end. Something like that. Anyway, Sociedad, I basically played on the entire second string team because we'd already won the first leg 4-0 and we avoided losing 5-0. I just wanted to double check that because I wasn't entirely certain if Erling Haaland scored a hat-trick in the first leg or not, but I think it was the Levante game where he scored it. Yeah, it was the previous round. We've scored a hat-trick in almost every game that we've played in the Copa del Rey, which is really weird. But yeah, Erling scored 2 in that one, he scored 3 in that one, and then he scored 3 in this second leg as well. He does enjoy the Copa del Rey, seemingly quite nicely, but 3-1 there. Didn't manage to blow that one, thankfully. And then Getafe was 4-0. I forgot to take Erling Haaland back out, actually, to be honest. That was a mistake. I was supposed to put Morata back in, but I didn't. But he scored 2 in this, along with 1 for Felix and Correa. That one was nice and straightforward, let's be honest. So, I think we beat Getafe 4-0 in the first time we met them as well. So, sorry. Shout out to them bringing a decent amount away, though, considering that our fellow top 4 rivals, Celta Vigo, brought 96. I don't know what's going on with that. I will just briefly bring you the table because there is one important thing to mention. By the way, we have the 3 highest average ratings, so naturally we're second. I don't know what it is, but for the most part, whilst we seem to struggle to break down teams, Barcelona and Real Madrid just don't lose, really, for the most part. However, Barcelona did lose. Barcelona lost their last match to Valencia, which is why we're now ahead of them. Real Madrid, though, still only that one early season loss to Levante under their banner, but they do still have to beat Barcelona and they do still need to play us again. However, 6 points still doesn't see us go ahead of them, which is a problem. We still do need someone else to beat them in order for us to leapfrog them and for us to just win every game from now to the end of the season, which, when you look at the schedule, apart from the Real Madrid match next, you really wouldn't expect us to slip up against most of this. Sevilla at home, they're 5th. Levante away, they're 6th. Atletico is 7th, that's away from home. There's a couple of tricky ones here, maybe away from home in the chasing pack, but Real Madrid we have at home, Sevilla we have at home, and then the end of the season is actually 4 teams fighting for fighting for their lives in the relegation spots, pretty much. So, as is Granada. So, our run-in's actually really quite nice, and we do have to play Real Madrid in the Copa del Rey final as well. But first, different competition, Champions League, round 2, Galatarasay. Just make sure we don't lose it, really. So when it comes to Galatasaray not losing, I'm not going 100% full strength on this one. We do have Llorente in this deep line playmaker role rather than Saul. Cliver is a necessity because Lamar is out injured. Again, he just sort of took a little bit of a knock and was out for about half a week or so, which does mean he's missed the last 2 matches because of that. Playing every 3 days still. Good news is Hermoso's nearly back. That's 2 weeks still. Felipe is a 1 yellow card away for suspension, so I'm not playing him now. Savic is apparently better. Not sure why or how, even though because his stats are actually worse. But Doku will be on the bench for this one rather than Kluivert, just because Doku played the last one. And because Erling Haaland has scored 5 goals in the last 2 matches, I'm going to start him. And he's actually now regarded as 4 stars in that complete forward role, which is a massive improvement already. I'm not sure exactly what's developed, if obviously been paying slightly more attention. Wow, actually, I've just realised he's regarded as... He was 2.5 star when we signed him. What has he been doing in training? Good lord. For someone who is well over 6 foot tall, he should have more than 14 heading. I mean, I know that's heading ability rather than, jumping reach, which is 17, which is more the key point that comes directly with the height. But, actually, wow, okay. Considering we're signing him for 15 million, and even that was an automatic acceptance, we could have probably got him for less. Genuine bargain potential in Haaland in general in this year's game by the seams of things. I didn't realise he was actually regarded as better than Morata. But no, he has scored 5 goals in the last 2 games, so I'm going to keep him in that striking role just while we've got the momentum with him. It took him a while to get there. I'm definitely not stopping him now. Just a nice little calm team talk. Not going to go overboard on that one. We just need to make sure we don't lose by more than 1 goal, really. Because obviously, if they win 1-0, we're still through on the fact we scored 3 away goals. So, here we go. First attack, 40 seconds in, and it's over. Okay. It would be nice to have started off on an incredibly positive note, but there we are. As they start to build from the back in this particular one. That's all the way out to Babel, who's already been booked. Llorente picks that one up and gives it straight to Trippier. Lovely, lovely player. Oh my god, there's so much space. Switch it inwards, Haaland's there. 6 goals in 3 games. He's there, he's arrived, he's officially arrived. Even though technically his official arrival is in the summer. But that's when the loan becomes permanent. And now they need to score 3. I don't know what their defence was doing. I don't know how that became a 2v1. And in fairness, that was a little bit unlucky because their defender did get the ball. But Kluivert did the most unintentional assist I've seen in a while. As Mariano brings that in for Nzonzi. Well, technically he brings it in for Koke, really. As somehow we are completely overloading them once again. What is happening? Where is their defence? It's something I'm normally shouting at my own players, if I'm honest. I'm normally baffled as to where my defence is. As this continues to be a highlight, and I mean, Haaland's had 3 shots on target already. And the goalie's already made 3 saves in the first 15 minutes. It's not going to be another one of those, is it? Just talked about that. I mean, that was way off, so that's not a goalkeeper. I'm not sure if it's attacking intelligence that's being underrated or goalkeeper intelligence that's being overrated at this point. It's hard to really tell, particularly in the 2D engine, I suppose. It probably would help if I did it in 3D to see where the shots were actually going. As they pass it around quite nicely, as Haaland just goes... As soon as I say they're doing quite nicely on the passing, there's 4 shots on target for Haaland now. 5, possibly. I don't know where the other shot on target came from, but for all that I've seen, Felix brings that one in for nobody. Oh, no, there's a penalty. I will probably cut this bit out because it's 40 seconds of nothing. Still looking. Oh, he's coming back. He's coming back, and it's a penalty. Shocker. As Haaland takes a few steps backwards, and well, he doesn't score it because he barely ever scores penalties. But I always feel like the penalty situation is further fuel to maybe it being the goalkeepers that are being too good. And I say that on both sides of the coin because Oblak saved a fair few penalties too for us. I'm not sure what I prefer, if I'm honest. But I do feel like penalties are not going in anywhere near as much as they should be in real life. The number of penalties that seem to be missed by people with very good penalty taking, more importantly, is ridiculous, frankly. I know Kluivert's made it 2-0 with our 12th shot on target. So still on that 6 shots on target per goal ratio that we saw in that match I highlighted. But there we are. Kluivert makes it 2. With, frankly, a shot that the goalie was never going to get to. Oh, we actually updated it at the time. That was the 11th shot, but never mind. Point still vaguely stands. As Kluivert's there at the back post again. Now it's 12. Koke completely butchers that. Anyway, so yeah, I think the penalty situation is probably more fuel for the goalkeepers are too good argument in general. Because we've now played 40 minutes, we've had 12 shots on target and 2 have gone in. This kind of attacking dominance would probably see a bigger scoreline than this at this point. In general. As Kluivert just nabs that and makes it 13 shots on target. I don't know if that last one counts. Counts as woodwork, I guess, but we just see this time and time again. This kind of level of attacking dominance doesn't go anywhere, and then they have one attack and they score it, basically. It's pretty much what normally happens here. Ever since I tweaked the instructions for that Barcelona match, I've never changed them back. Entirely, anyway. We've been a little bit more, at the very least, defensively solid. We've conceded less shots. Although we've still conceded goals because engine. Let's keep it going, lads. They need to score 4 goals. To be fair, I don't really think anything I would say would cause that to happen. Touch wood. Looks like Manchester City are going through as things stand. As that goes back to one of their defenders, and they build from the back one more time. As we actually see an attack for Galatasaray at final last. Oh, they've had a shot. It's miles off. I think it's just because he did a little bit of a run from a wide angle. It goes, oh, that would have been some goal. They've had a shot on target, folks. Falcao has done something, but I think it may just be the starter of an attack for us instead, which is sad for them. Kluivert just runs and runs and runs. Probably going to have a shot here, despite the fact there is plenty of options in the box. That's one thing that's really annoying. That might be part of the problem, though, in fairness. Yeah, as I make this change, I'll just talk through that a little bit, but that might be part of the problem. I think there's far too many shots being taken at narrow angles that would not be taken in real life. There's far too many selfish shots being taken in this game so far. As I need to work out who to actually take off, because everyone's actually kind of reasonably fit and playing quite well. I guess with Real Madrid on the horizon, we take off the people that we need the most, which is Correa, Felix, and Koke? Or Alba. Koke or Alba? Koke, I think. Oh, by the way, there was an injury to Adan at one point, the backup goalkeeper. So I took him off the bench and I just never bothered putting him back on. I like having the extra midfielder on the bench, if I'm completely honest. But yeah, 32 shots, 17 on target, 2-0. This is the kind of nonsense I'm talking about, though. They've not blocked a single... Like, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind if it was sort of like 32 shots, about 8 on target, and then there was sort of 8 blocked or whatever. You know, that shows some actual sort of defensive acumen from them. But the fact they've allowed us to have 17 shots on target and the goalkeeper has saved, as it becomes 3-0, 15 shots he saved. 15! I suppose I could have worked that out from the fact it's been 18 and 3-0, but a little bit easier than adding them up. But 15 saves is not something that happens every day, but it's happening every other game. Pleased with the result and the performance. Has Inter snapped that at the last minute. Wow. Okay. That's 8 million for us to get to the quarter-final, which I think was actually the minimum requirement. It was, actually, yeah, it was. So, nice. Anyway, I'll bring you back for that Real Madrid match, of course, so see you in a minute. Okay, you join me back on this page where Liverpool are through, and so are Red Bull Salzburg. I saw it popped on the ticker tape, and I literally gasped. They came from 3-0 down. They scored once before a player was sent off, Ander Herrera, and then they scored once after the sending off to make it 3-2. 2 away goals, 3-3 aggregate. Red Bull Salzburg are through to the quarterfinals. Without Erling Haaland as well, most importantly. I'm gobsmacked. And so I'm weirdly proud of them. Seems I'm not the only one suffering from this problem, as, Celta Vigo have completely FM'd Barcelona. 31 shots to 2. 0-1. So here's the lineup for the Madrid derby. And we do see Saul back. We do see Felipe back. Actually, did forget to check, is Lamar back? Sort of. Guess we put him on the bench rather than Doku. Yeah, okay, so Haaland, Kluivert, Felix, Correa, Koke, Saul, Alba, Felipe, Jimenez, Trippier, Oblak. Mostly the one you kind of expect to see, but now that Haaland is regarded as the better striker, he now starts rather than is the backup, and Kluivert's just in for the injured Lamar. That's the only real difference. So here we go. I don't want to get revenge. I don't know if that's going to cause problems or not. But everyone's motivated and happy at the bare minimum, so here we go. So we're going positive. We're not going full attacking. But we are at home. So, and they're actually leading with Luka Jovic rather than Benzema, who I think is their normal first choice. But yes, Barcelona losing is actually a massive boon for us, because if we can even get a point here, that'll just put 3 points between us. I think realistically, hang on, is Areola their first choice now naturally, or is it still Courtois? I guess it is Courtois. It's 15 minutes in actually, this first highlight. It feels like, because it's the first thing we now see, it feels like it's super early on, but it is 15 minutes in, there's only been 1 shot each. So I think actually possibly just taking a little bit off the tempo of build-up play has actually really benefited us slightly. Well, it's unfortunate. Really, I can't really blame anyone for that, because it's just pinball. He's not scored, it's just hit him, I think. I mean, if we look at it in 3D, I think it's more just the fault of... He was already sliding for that before it ricocheted to him. That was not a natural goal. As we play for it. Now, you've got to wonder, actually, if Barcelona are losing it, because they lost the last game before that to Valencia as well. You've got to kind of wonder if that's going to cause a little issue going forward there, because they have lost 2 league games in a row there. It'd be interesting to pay attention to what happens in their second leg of their Champions League game, which happens this week, I think. This is a throw in deep in their half for them as Real Madrid build out from the back here. There's good play. I thought Correa was about to intercept that, but he didn't. Hazard versus Trippier is... he's offside. I was going to say the words, but I'm going to say them. If we can go in bare minimum 1-0 down, I feel like I can give a team talk that would get us back in the game second half. As square it! Square it! That's what I mean. That's what I'm talking about, by the way. Players shooting from tight angles when they have no reason to be shooting from tight angles. Square it into the middle where Haaland was waiting, I think. Just do it. It's not difficult. Players running in from such an angle would always pretty much look up for the pass first. And if there isn't one, then they take the shot. As they push forward here. And it's hit the bar and gone in. The argument here is we both have 4 shots on target. They had one very lucky goal at the beginning, and then I kind of want to see this in 3D before I reserve any judgment for it. Oh, it doesn't hit the bar, it hits Oblak. That's what the movement was as it went over the line. So, is that a poor save or is it a good header? Oh, after 2 goals, my assistant manager has decided to close down Jovic. I mean, do I just switch this to attacking because Positive is clearly letting them in too much? As we do get the ball here, Kluivert... Saul does the backwards pass for no apparent reason when there was a forwards option available to him. That's gone away to Corey on the opposite side, and he's hit the bar post. Corey does regather the ball, although there is an offside involved at some point here. But it's a very even game. They've just converted 2 of their 4 shots on target. Aggressive, show something in the second half. Just tell them I still have faith, and see if we can get something out of this. I mean, if we lose here, then the title's over, basically. Absolutely over. Because we need them to lose all, 4 games now. Oh, although this looks like it may be a penalty. I say maybe a penalty. If it's happened inside the box, it's a penalty. The debate now is whether it's a penalty or a free kick, I think. But considering both players seem to be in the box now, as time is completely frozen and nobody's moving, as if it's the game of musical statues, I don't understand this. Sometimes everyone just freezes, or sometimes there's a weird little dance that goes on between the 2 players involved. No penalty! Oh, that's the first time I've ever seen that. It's the first time I've ever seen that not be a penalty. At all. It's usually just, if it's not a penalty, it's a free kick. That's usually the situation. Is whether if it's inside or outside. As they run up the entire pitch. What was that? I'm sorry, what was that? I think he was trying to pass it to someone on the other side of the field, but it just ricocheted off the player directly next to him instead. As they have 9 bazillion players versus 2. What on earth? I mean, there's attacking and there's not leaving anyone in defence. Thank you for playing that short. Felipe will get underneath this. Get it back outwards. There's 7,000 players in the box there for them. Saul can do something here, maybe. Saul can do something. No, he can't. No, he can't. He holds onto the ball for 8 That's a distance. Holds on the ball for... Saul held onto that ball for so long and then did the worst pass he could have possibly done as... Oh, there's a penalty for them. I don't understand. Barcelona, we destroyed at home and then managed to draw away. But Real Madrid seem to be a completely different kettle of fish for some reason. This time it is a penalty. Jovic for his hat-trick. Sends him the wrong way. Nothing we can do about it. We're in this game. We actually were doing better on positive, so I am going to bring it back. Okay, with a free kick here. Haaland's on the back post. And it's 3-1. We've got 1 back. I'm very much doubting a 3-all happening here, to be honest, but... Oh, come on! I mean, the middle of the park's having an absolute shocker. And Cliver's done poorly as well. I do feel like Koke's the better player, though, so... If I take Saul off, and I take Cliver off for Lamar here, we might see something, but they're attacking again. We've got plenty of players back. Do we need to defend wider? Is that the issue? I feel like even in watching other people's series, I feel like everyone just defends far too narrow. And I do wonder if defending wider is the answer for everyone at this point, or if it's just a problem in the game. I mean, Alba's now tired, and we can't really allow that against Real Madrid full stop. So, Reina Lodi is actually a competent player. Just surprised Alba didn't get booked. I think it's the first game in about the entire year that we've not... Oh, that's a mistake. Can't even convert that. This is what I mean, there's a massive discrepancy between what we're able to convert and what other teams are able to convert. They've had 7 shots on target, they've scored 3. We had 18 shots on target in that last match against Galatarasay, and we converted 2. And this is what I mean, and that's the worst goal, and that's a far worse goalkeeper than Oblak is. Although Muslera is not that bad, in fairness, but Oblak is one of the top 3 goalkeepers in the world. Unarguably, as Jimenez gives that to us still, just about. Jovic is a good striker, let's not put that away, but he's, again, a young striker, possibly fairly comparable to how good Haaland is right now in this game. I haven't looked at Jovic's stats, but... Oh, is Brozovic going to get sent... This happened in the other one, I'm fairly certain. I'm fairly certain they had a player sent off in the first leg as well. Well, now we go attacking to see if we can get consolation. But this is what I mean. Jovic, I wouldn't say is any better than Haaland at this point in time. I haven't looked at his stats, but I can't imagine it to be too much different as they're through. And yeah, he can put 3 goals past Oblak, but we can't put more than 2 past Muslera with 3 times as many shots on target. Oh, Modric managed to get past Reina Lodi, but Reina Lodi does recover. I mean, this is just ridiculous. 8 shots on target, we've scored none. They have 8 shots on target, they score 3. And Areola is regarded as a full star worse than Oblak. Djuric's finishing is 18 and composure is 16, so can't take that away from him. But he is regarded a full star and a half worse than Haaland, according to our team. Let's actually compare him directly, shall we? Haaland's in the blue. Djuric has the technical and the attacking, but Haaland is better in every other regard. So yeah, finishing 2 better, crossing's better, first touch is better, technique is better, I suppose, but anticipation and composure is better. But mentally, Haaland has it, and physically Haaland has it by a mile. Yeah, just a casual reminder, Haaland's penalty taking is 15. Shout out to him being on 10% of the wages at this point, though. In fairness, when he does join us permanently, he's on about 45-ish, I think. So the quarterfinal against Inter and the Real Madrid Copa del Rey final. That's the next episode. So until then, ta-ra.